Okay, today we're going to do a gallery hung picture tutorial. So what we're going to do is we're going to hang this picture here onto the wall here, and it's going to be at 1600 eye level, so 1600 millimeters, and that should cross through 1/3 from the top of your image. So I've done this cardboard template to simulate what would be on the back of your structure canvas. So if I place that, I've marked on the line on the wall already at 1600 millimeters, and I've marked on my template here 1/3 down. So if I stick that onto the wall, that'll explain quite a lot. Okay, so this is our imaginary line running through our painting, which is 1/3 down. It's lined up at 1600 millimeters. This is the top of the painting. In this instance, we've got a crossbar, so I'm going to fix it here and here. So it's hanging on the crossbar. The reason being, if there was any discrepancy in the frame, if it was in twist slightly or something like that, then hanging it in the middle on the crossbar, that's going to minimise the amount of distortion that you're going to get from the frame off the wall. If you haven't got a crossbar, then obviously you'll be hanging it from the top, just on the inside of the frame, which is perfectly acceptable as well. Okay, so from here, if I take a tape measure, I can get the reading. So although that's 1600 millimeters, and that's the height we want it, the position that we fix the screws in is actually going to be here underneath the crossbar. So the crossbar will be sitting on top of these screws, 2 screws. So we take that measurement from there, and it's actually 1450 millimeters. So we'll be able to transfer that mark onto the wall. Now, I don't expect you to make a template for every time you want to hang a stretcher onto the wall. So I'm going to show you how I would do it normally off the stretcher. So I've marked my stretcher, this is my top, and I've put a line there. I've put some masking tape to protect it, and I've put a line there 1/3 down from the top. And I'm going to place 1600 millimeters on my tape measure on that line there. And what that does is it gives me the reading that I need in order to fix underneath. So I've got a crossbar, so in this instance it's actually 1460 millimeters is for the underside of the crossbar, or if I were hanging it on the top of the frame, then I would be needing to draw my line at 1810. Again, I've got all those readings just directly off my tape measure. Okay. So I'm going to change that measurement to 1460, like so, and I'll take this down now, and I'll make my new measurement line 1460 from the floor. 1460. Take a spirit level, put it on top of that pencil, or below the pencil line you've just drawn, 1460. Get the bubble into the middle of the 2 lines and draw a line across. So that is the line that we're going to put our screws into. Now the position of the screws, with reference to this, to the stretcher, is that we don't want them too tight up against the frame, so there and there, because that will leave us with no movement, any opportunity to move it to the left and right to get that fine accuracy. So what I'm going to do is just bring it in. I'm going to measure that distance, it's 410, and I'm going to take away 50 millimetres. So I've got 360 millimetres left, and I'm going to make that so my two screws that I'm drilling into the wall will be 360 millimetres apart. So I'll mark that on my line. So from my centre point here, I mark 180 there and 360 there. So my line 1460 up, and I've got two marks 360 millimetres apart. Take a bradawl and just make a small indent on those two pencil marks, like so. Now this is a masonry wall, so we're using a masonry bit. I'll give examples of the different types of bits later. And we put it into a cordless drill. If I had a hammer position on there, I would be using it, but I don't. It's just a normal drill, but because these are lightweight blocks behind here, the plaster, I know it will go in reasonably well. Okay, and just start to drill. So put the indent of the bit, masonry bit, into that bradawl mark. And drill in. Same on this side. And drill in. Okay. Now I'm going to take two plugs, or plastic plugs that go into masonry plugs. Again, I'll show a photo, an image of the different types at a later date. And you'll need a hammer. Oops. And into those holes, put the plugs. And tap them home. Now I'm going to take the screws. I'm using round head screws. The reason being that if you imagine this is the stretcher bar, when the stretcher bar sits on that round head screw, the flatness on the screw stops it from coming off. Whereas if it was a countersunk screw, it could potentially slip off. It's unlikely, it's just an observation, and might as well do it as I've got those screws available. So now I'm going to place the screws into the plugs. And start to screw them in, do the same on this side. And I want these screws to be level. When we take the spirit level on top of them, they should be reading level. Okay, other thing I've done here is I've got a block, and what I've done is I've managed to find a piece of wood that is the same distance, so when the front edge of the piece of wood is lined up with the inside of the crossbar, the back edge of this piece of wood is level with the back of the frame. So what that is going to do is act as a spacer. So by placing it on top of the screw, I know how far I need to put the screw into the wall to allow enough to let the crossbar sit on that inside edge of the round head screw. And the same on this side. Like so. Have to just undo that because it's actually lifting it up a little bit. And that's it. So now that is ready for hanging the picture onto the wall, like so, and you've got about 50mm overall of movement to the left and right, so you can get the position exactly how you'd like it.